Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 9th of July. My name's Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
Gary, what can you hear? Can you hear something?
Can you hear the drums, Fernando?
Well, the drums. Can you hear the
right.
beating drums?
I can.
Gary? The beating drums
I'm in
of
sync
a
with you, Phil.
market that is improving virtually on a daily basis, Gary.
Right, you can see
weekly
it.
basis.
You can hear it, you can see
Well,
it, you can smell it.
Smell it, you can touch it, you can
taste
it.
You can, Phil.
There is
what's going on
no
out
question, viewers, that the market has found some stride, some momentum. We, of course, had a massive weekend selling
Monstrous.
100%.
Yep,
A round of applause, canned applause for our incredible result
now
of,
change it.
of 100% against the industry average. Towers up of 67%.
No, it's more than that, I think.
No, 67%,
Okay.
Gary.
We'll put it up.
Anyway, it makes a better story. We're at 100%. The industry is at 67%.
And we sold all of our auctions, Philip. All of them. Every two of them. Every two of them.
And we've made a bit of a thing about that over the years, Gary, on GPTV, about other agents crowing about how they're successful. 100% from one or two from two, or 3 from 3.
You still got to sell them, mate.
And now there we are, looking down the camera, doing exactly the same thing.
It was a very quiet weekend. Well, it's not pathetic because the volume's pathetic, but we still got good results. The vendors are happy.
No, I think
that's the main thing.
It's
the main message.
What I was saying is that our idle boasts are pathetic. Speaking of idle boasts, Gary, in this politically correct world that we live in, we ask for buyer and vendor and viewer feedback about this show. And the trouble with asking for it, Gary, is you get us.
Every now and then, don't you, Phil?
We have absolutely copped a shellacking in recent weeks.
Well, for nothing really, is it, Phil?
No,
for just
Gary,
being, you know what it is? It's for being two men talking to a camera.
We've had viewers that have watched this show, and we've got a certain core following of people that excuse our pathetic behaviour. Yes. But there's some people that have clicked in on the show and have had some very constructive criticism
They are just visitors, Philip, and if you click on this as a visitor, you would have no idea what's going on. But the regular core understand. They're part of the joke, Phil. They get it. And talking about jokes, it was a bit of a joke yesterday at the MCG, Phil, I've got to say to you, where Melbourne got up in the last minute and put us away. So between the two of us...
they didn't get up in the last
minute. I'm
distracting
you.
No,
You're on your phone now. This is not important enough for you. Oh, sorry, I'll just wait.
He's on the phone. It was hardly... I mean, Melbourne did leave.
No, just don't listen to it.
No, I'm looking for something because I want to tell the viewers about a show that I'm watching, and I think
I watches this. Is that how you brought him up to do that, David? Go on.
Gary, speaking of watching, we've done Carlton and Melbourne at the MCG, and Melbourne, I mean,
I have to tell you
more
something
pathetic,
happened, though.
two more pathetic
I have to tell you something
happened.
Couldn't find. So, you don't know about this story. I always like springing things on you on the show. So if a player plays badly...
If a player plays badly...
And you're watching the game, do you give him a spray?
Of course you do.
So let me tell you what happened yesterday.
That's what we go to the footy for. Although the AFL will probably try to clamp down on...
I'm sure they will.
So
let me tell you what happened yesterday. Number 2 for Carlton is Paddy Dow on Sunday.
Paddy Dow.
Paddy Dow is a good player.
Pat me down
no,
or
not
Paddy Dow?
Paddy Dow, right? He's a good player, but he's been a little bit out of form, and he's done a few
stupid
turnovers
things.
And he's missed the goal, a few goals. So he's got the ball. So we're all going, oh, not Paddy Dow. Anyone but Paddy Dow, he's going to stuff it up. He's going to miss it. We're all screaming, right? Anyway, there's 3 guys in front of us, all with number 2 on their back. Right? They turn around and they go, look, mate, I hope you don't mind us saying, but we're all Dows. Right? So they're all Dows. They're all related to Dows. So all of us are there. It's like 6 of us will go, oops, right? That wasn't very nice.
No, in true spirit, true Australian spirit, I hope then you gave them a spray as well.
You should be ashamed. And they said, let me just say, and we said, oh, we're very sorry. We didn't mean to offend you, right?
Well, were you sitting in the members or something, were you?
Well, that was the other thing. We all had the same idea. How come you got such crap seats if you're a Dow and he's out on the ground? We all had the same thought, which was even more ironic. Anyway, we're all, of course, every time Dow got the ball, we just like, everything went silent. So we were very paranoid, very careful. What's the chances of that when you're screaming about a player and all of his relatives are sitting there in front of you?
It's brilliant. Only in Australia.
Anyway,
great footy story. We'll move on to what am I watching at the moment on television, Gary?
And you're moving on to that because of...
View. Just because
anybody cares?
This is not a football show, Gary, and we've already copped a
spray
for the misogynist views that we espouse on this show. But Gary, I am watching the most incredible series at the moment. It's only
Isn't it funny how in July, quiet markets, that's what we talk about.
We watch telly.
There's not that much happening in real
and
estate.
camera people that are filming this, because I've forgotten the show that I'm watching. What's the show? when they see us.
Yes, when
viewers,
they see us,
if you watch one thing this year, after you watch Chernobyl, of course.
Yeah, I'm watching that.
But if you watch When They See Us, which is the true story of 5 African Americans. I've got to make sure that I get it right.
Yes,
5 African American kids under 16 that were falsely convicted of the rape and bashing of the Central Park jogger in the late 1980s. Viewers,
so is it a comedy?
I cried. I cried my way through most of this. It's the most extraordinary piece of watching of television, and made by Oprah Winfrey.
Yep.
So there you go. Okay. Watch that. It's incredible.
Fair enough. Watch that, or the replay on Saturday on Sunday's game of Melbourne stealing it from Carlton, who stole it from Melbourne. Philip, let's talk about some of the results on the weekend. We did have our auction that sold with 4 bidders in Glen Huntly Road. So well done to Graham and to Leo Samuel, the auctioneer there in Glen Huntly Road, Carnegie. It just goes to show people, Philip, there's buyers out there. There's plenty of people that want to buy property.
There are, Gary, and it's interesting to note that the apartments, which over the last 18 months have been really hard work to get away, all of a sudden, literally in the last 4 weeks, that whole marketplace has sprung to life. We've got the buyers back, got the first home buyers back, and we're now seeing competitive bidding on a lot of our apartments.
Absolutely. $549,000, Philip, sold for with 4 bidders well above reserve, which is a good sign.
Do you want to tip viewers, and do you want to tip Gary? This is my prediction after speaking to a lot of architects, builders and developers over the last 18 months. What's happened, Gary, is a lot of the projects that were in planning have been withdrawn from the marketplace. Right. I'm tipping this over the next 12 to 18 months, you're going to see a shortage of apartments in the marketplace. So that's going to be interesting market to watch. That's going to put
a bit of pressure on the prices, perhaps,
without question,
on the ones that are out
without
there,
question.
Philip.
Because keep in mind, in Melbourne particularly, and in Australia, but particularly in Melbourne and I suppose Sydney, we've got a growing population. So the reality is that if you withdraw supply from the market in a city where you've got growing population, there is going to be some real supply issues.
Some real estate news, Philip. Purple bricks have gone from America.
They packed up and left Australia. Now they've packed up and left the United States.
So I'm sorry for Purple Bricks that's happened. But then again, Phil, that low cost service is always
that's where I hope you were going to get.
Of course, you're always going to get there.
Talk more about that.
Well, Philip, this is a complicated business, and to do it well, you need a lot of resources, and you need some skill as well, Philip, and you need to actually have some training and understanding. And unfortunately, in terms of, it was interesting, that email went around the office, and David Thompson sent a message, and he's just talked about going to an open for inspection that Purple Bricks had, and all of the things that they didn't do. And I don't want to be nasty, but
nasty. This is a nasty show.
I'm going to get nasty, but he just said he didn't take names and phone numbers. The agent was on the phone. They were disinterested. Didn't follow up any buyers. And I mean, as agents, as professionals, handling people's most valuable asset, Philip, there's a lot of boxes to tick if you're going to do the job properly.
Interesting, Gary, what viewers probably are not aware of, and of course, again, this is talking up our own book, but Australia has one of the most competitive markets for selling your property. In fact, the commission rates in Australia are some of the lowest commission rates in the world.
Exactly right, they are, Philip. And notwithstanding that, it's still a fair, decent amount of money to pay for a professional service. But
not being flippant about that.
But once you start discounting a rate of a professional agent, you're always going to be in dangerous territory, and you just can't afford to stay in business. And that's been proven now yet again. So anyway,
I think that's just to finish off that Purple Brick story. If ever there was a company that could have been successful at it, I mean, this is a publicly listed company with a massive balance sheet. And if they couldn't make it work, makes you realise that the business model is not a secure business model.
For some consumers, some people who might feel a bit sad and say, well, now we're going to be held to a higher rate of pay or commission or remuneration. The reality is that you get what you're worth, and if you can do a good job for a seller, then you can substantiate your charge, Philip, and it's connected to the outcome and result, and it's connected to your negotiating skills your professionalism, your service, your resources, and your expertise.
Well, Gary,
anyway,
the viewers do not tune into this show to hear you justifying your commission rates. Let's talk more about the market, please, Gary.
Phil, we don't need to have a Thursday show to review what's coming up. I think we can do it now. Should we get into the properties that are coming up, Philip? We can put them on the screen behind us like we're going to be inside them. We start off on Saturday morning, Philip, at 11:30. Your first auction is going to be at 302 Dandenong Road in St Kilda
I
West.
love this property, Gary, and I love the position in Dandenong Road because if you think about where you are, you can walk to the Armour Village.
You can indeed.
You can walk to High Street Armidale.
Yep.
You've got a tram at your doorstep, and this gives you an opportunity to buy a really beautiful home at a price that you would not expect to pay.
Absolutely.
Properties like this, which have got the level of accommodation, should be hundreds of thousands of dollars more.
I like the location, Philip, and the other location I love is Alma Grove. That's going to be your second auction at 12:30. We're going to be auctioning 2 at 29 Alma Grove in St Kilda, Philip.
What a lovely apartment, Gary. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a small boutique building in a great spot where you don't normally get apartments. This is a lovely street full of gorgeous period homes.
Yep.
And you're walking distance, of course, to Carlisle Street, to Fitzroy Street, to Ackland Street. And you could even walk
Chapel
in
Street.
the morning to Albert Park Lake.
You could if you wanted to. You could walk to the city as well if you were very energetic.
You could walk to Sydney if you were so inclined, but of course you wouldn't even think about that unless you were Michael Long.
No, you could think about that, if you were him, or if you. We could
Speaking of Michael Long, how
That's a long walk.
Wonderful
That's what
is
you call a long walk,
how wonderful is it that Nicky Winmar has been immortalised, and that moment of Nicky Winmar from St Kilda lifting up his Guernsey to show his dark skin in a moment of pride. That's been immortalised in a bronze statue at I'm not sure which stadium it is now. It might be Marvel or it might not be, but wherever it is, look out for it because it's a fantastic thing.
Philip, that's your 12:30 auction. We're going to shoo you away after that. There's no more auctions for you on the weekend. No, or I should say on Saturday. You're done, and I've got nothing to do on Saturday in terms of auctions. Anyway,
or perhaps you might go out and go to some open for inspections, Gary, and get in touch with what the consumer is saying at opens.
I might just do that, although I don't feel the need to do that. You may perhaps already feel very much in touch. But Philip, one thing that we are in touch with is Armidale Apartments, and Bailey Avenue, which is a great address, is our 12:30 auction that Jeremy Rosens is going to be auctioning. What a fantastic property.
Well, you don't get a better location than that, Gary, because you're between 2 tram lines, one in Dandenong Road and one in Wattletree Road. You can also walk to Malvern Central and Glenferrie Road. Viewers, we talk a lot about the walkability factor of properties, and we're finding that there is a massive tenancy demand, let alone owner-occupied. It is, Gary.
Union Street.
Can you let me finish?
Yeah.
Walking distance, properties that are located...
What number, Union Street?
Properties beautifully located, walking distance to facilities will generally outperform those that are not.
Now, if you don't think Sutherland Road's a good address, then we take that as a personal
Sutherland
insult.
Road, Armidale?
Yeah, we take that as a personal insult because we owned a property.
We did.
In Sutherland Road. We owned it in the 80s, Philip.
One
we had
of
to
the
sell it to
great
set up this business.
tragedies of our youth was selling the real estate.
One of many
we did, although we did sell our real estate in order to open up our business. So I suppose that's been probably a successful decision to make.
Jeremy Rose's auctions this terrific apartment, another 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. Joel Sir's been very involved in both of those Armidale properties, and we think it's going to be quite popular, Phil.
Do you think our life, Gary, would have been any different if we had actually held on to the properties that we have?
I think it would have been different.
Because, well, it would have been different in terms of it would have been better, but do you think we would have got through the early stages of our business
I think we would have.
by holding on? I agree.
You know, I didn't want to sell at the time, Phil, but we had to. I know you didn't force me to do it.
We had to.
But we had to because sometimes you just have to.
Gary, the only joy about getting older really is the wisdom that comes along with it.
When's that going to happen?
And as Oscar Wilde said, Gary, many years ago, he said, youth is such a beautiful thing, it's such a shame that it's wasted on the young.
Yes, very good, Philip. You're just full of philosophy and wise sayings today, and I like it.
Well, Gary, I'm erudite. I am a reader. I'm a man of. I'm a man of.
Is that something that you can get rid of?
And I'm a man of culture, which tells me that when was the last time you went to the ballet, Gary?
Philip, I've never been to the ballet in my life. I never will go. I never want to go. And if I want to have a good sleep, I'll do it at home in my bed, not at the ballet like you do.
Gary, I went to see the ballet on Saturday night with my lovely wife.
All those little people on their tippy toes.
Who loves ballet. And this was Swan Lake, but a modern interpretation of Swan Lake by the Monaco Ballet Company.
Oh, what do they do?
And
they do it.
It was absolutely incredible.
Well, how does a modern interpretation of Gone go? Is it like punk rock or something?
Well, you know, Gary, I suggest you go to the ballet at least once in your life so you can see what more refined, interesting people do with their spare time.
That was pretty.
I suppose you went to the casino as well.
Did go to the casino? Funny you should say that, Phil. Let's move on. But Paddy Dow, you can't knock Paddy Dow. I'm not going to do that again. Don't knock Paddy Dow. Philip, on Sunday morning, if it gets to auction, there's a chance it might sell before, but if it gets to auction, we've got a wonderful apartment in Blenheim Street. Now, I love this location.
Blenheim or Blenheim?
I say Blenheim. You say Blenheim. Blenheim. But what a great apartment this is in this fantastic boutique block, Philip, just around the corner from so many wonderful features, including the cafe, which I've just gone blank with because I'm actually losing my mind, I think. Under this, where we
Las Chicos.
Las Chicos. How can I forget that?
That is scary.
That is a really senior
This
moment.
is the dementia program.
I don't know
program. Well, it is a bit of a dementia program.
I don't know why I do
this is
that,
the program that you'd forget immediately after watching it.
I don't know why I do that, Darren. I can't believe it. Anyway, that's a great apartment. It's going to be auctioned at 10:30 a.m. Philip, you have a little sleep in. I'm going to be doing that auction.
Walking distance to the Balaclava train station, the tram in Carlisle Street, and of course, in this Uberised world, Gary,
it's all cool apartment.
We've got more and more younger people, particularly, choosing to buy a property and get rid of their car. And certainly in this Uberised world, you can do that.
It's got a car spot.
I said younger people, but my dear parents who are in their 80s.
I saw your father.
You did. He saw you at the golf course. Both of them now just hit Uber and they're using Uber a lot.
Your father also did mention that he hasn't seen the photo of you in your high heels, and I said I think it's better not to see it because it's very hard to unsee once you've seen that image. But he did. He was aware of it, Philip, and he's disturbed
Gary.
and worried.
Okay.
Let's move on to 37 Balaclava Road, which is your sole auction, Gary, at 11:30 a.m. on Sunday morning.
Beautiful, beautiful home. A corner location, a large parcel of land, in fact, in excess of 800 square metres. It's got some incredible period features to it, and you've got to love that era where the buildings were built old school, high ceilings.
You don't have to love it,
solid
but
brick.
You can choose to love it.
And you can take these homes, Gary, and give them a 2020 overhaul and turn them into incredible homes.
Well, you've got
and
the
that
location,
that mixture of old world and modern contemporary work beautifully together. And this is the blank canvas for somebody to be able to do that.
You've got the location, you've got the land, and you've got the opportunity, Philip.
You do, Gary.
That's exactly
all
right.
of those things.
Can you please attend the 12:30 auction and come to Goulay Street? It's going to be a busy one, Philip. I'm the auctioneer. But it's 11
come
Goulay
along
Street.
and judge you?
Yeah, come. Well, you can judge me if you like. You know, you'll have your opinion, and no doubt you'll tell me, and no doubt I won't listen to it. But Philip, come along to 11 Goulay Street because this is a wonderful home. It's been the same family for many years.
How many years?
Many years, Philip. 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It's a fantastic contemporary. I think it probably was built in the 70s. Does that look 70s to you? Maybe 80s. But look, great house, Philip. Great opportunity, good land, good street, good position, and plenty of potential there as well.
And that block viewers bounded, if you want to look at an incredible location, look at the block of bounded by Hotham Street.
Yes.
Nepean Highway or Brighton Road,
Glenira
Road,
and
Carlisle Street.
Indeed.
That is just the most incredible. Because if you think
Balaclava,
about it, you've got 2 train stations, the Ripponlea train station and the Balaclava train station. You've got 2 gorgeous shopping centres being Ripponlea and Carlisle Street. And you've got access to 2 trams, in fact 3 trams, because you've got Chapel Street, Balaclava Road, Brighton Road. So you really could not get a cooler location.
And as you remember, Philip, I grew up there. We used to run around there as kids. We used to ring the bell on the local escort, the local escort there, and we used to ring and run.
Daily Planet?
No, there was one in Glenira Road many years ago, opposite the TAB. It's no longer there. It was there. We used to ring and run quickly, and that was our thrills for the day. But anyway, 2 young larrikins. What can you do? I mean, we were 40.
Graduated from ringing the doorbell on the local brothel to running real estate.
Yes.
I'm not sure
we're getting a lot of respect out of it.
There's a synergy there, Gary.
We should stay away from that, Philip. But that's a big wrap on GPTV.
Thought we'd just share a little bit about us with you viewers.
Yes, just in case you didn't have a lowly enough opinion of us now, it'll even sink lower. Phil, that's a big wrap on GPTV. We're coming into a very exciting time of year, Philip.
Yes,
We're
Gary.
now listing for spring.
We are.
As you said at the outset of the show, the drums are banging out there, or beating, I should say. The vibe is good. There's lots of competition. There's lots of buys. There's lots of interest. There's lots of inquiry. There's lots of people coming to opens. There's lots happening, and we're going to bring it all to our viewers on GPTV.
Let's close with this very simple saying. Property is back. Gary, another thumping edition of GPTV.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being my co-anchor.
Thank you, Phil.
I'm Philip Kingston. Have a great week.
See you next week. I'm Gary Peer. Bye.